Hello, welcome. Welcome to another edition of BirdNet's Truth Talk. Today we have a wonderful personality, a person that I know for I don't know how many years. Sister Joan Marie Sasse. Sister is a Benedictine sister living in Grand Terrace but belonging to St. Lucy's Priory, Glendora. She is from Indiana. She began the Sarah Retreat House in Malibu and worked with Father Emery Tang. In fact, I also had the privilege of working with Father Emery Tang because of Sister Joni. Presently, Sister Joni conducts holistic renewal retreats and workshops at her center in Grand Terrace. And she is also trained. She is trained in neuro-linguistic programming, Silva method, therapeutic touch, pranic healing, something that I was introduced when I was in India already, and a host of many other programs and practices. And today, she is going to speak to us on the theme, I am the light of the world. You know that. Where it is from. It is from the Gospel of John chapter 8, verses 12. But that was a little bit of official introduction to Sister Joni. But I know Joni from the many years that I served at Christ Redeemer Parish, Grand Terrace. Sister Joni and all the sisters at the Benedictine convent. I always used to love to go by her retreat center and walk in the labyrinth. I miss that these days. But all the same, let's listen to her with your permission here, those who are the audience in the studio. So also all of you out there, with all your permission, let me welcome Sister Joni onto the podium. Joni, welcome.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
And it's all yours now.
Thank you.
And I will come and meet you after you have done your presentation.
All right.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I want to begin with a very important reading. If you can start the day without caffeine, if you can get going without pep pills, if you can always be cheerful, ignoring aches and pains, if you can resist complaining and boring people with your troubles, if you can eat the same food every day and be grateful for it, if you can understand when your loved ones are too busy to give you any time, if you can take criticism and blame without resentment, if you can resist treating a rich friend better than a poor friend, if you can conquer tension without medical help, if you can relax without liquor, if you can sleep without the aid of drugs, then you're probably the family dog. The reason I say that is there is no person on this planet today who is not stressed out, because the planet itself is stressed. Now, today I'm talking about prayer and the light of Christ, but I have to give you a little scientific background before we get into that, because it will make more sense to you when we do that. The magnetic core of the planet has lost 40% of its pull. In fact, the North and South Pole are slowly moving. In February of 2019, they discovered that the North Pole was heading towards Siberia, and the South Pole was just off the coast of Antarctica and was headed toward Australia. Now, with the North and South Pole moving, eventually they're going to flip. The North is going to be the South, and the South will be the North. It's not going to happen real soon. The last time it happened was 780,000 years ago. So just take a breather. You probably won't be around when this works. But because the magnetic core of the planet is changing, the planet itself is moving. It's vibrating. It's a very subtle vibration. And this movement of the planet affects every single person on the planet. But it affects us individually. You know, some of the side effects of this movement that's taking place are people get headaches and their joints hurt, and some of them are dizzy and they fall easily or have vertigo. There's no symptom that's connected with this. It's very individual. But one of the things you'll notice is that maybe your joints will hurt for a couple of days, and then by the time you get a doctor appointment, it's over. So don't worry about it. It's just the planet. It's the planet moving, and you're on the planet, and it's shifting everything around. Because it's a very, very slow process. It's not going away. So one of the things we might as well do is learn to get used to it and to go with the flow. Back in the 1920s, we were introduced to quantum physics. Now, prior to that, most of us were trained with Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics says that there's energy and there's matter, but quantum physics says everything is energy. We're energy, plants are energy, animals are energy, the very planet itself is energy. And this energy is not just contained in our body. This energy, the field extends way out to our fingertips. Here's a picture from the HeartMath Institute, and they're showing you how this energy is around every one of us, and it can be extended, like I say, way out to the end of your fingertips and much beyond that. You can send it miles and miles and miles. But there's no one without this energy field. Another thing about this energy is it's in constant motion. It's always moving. If it's moving very, very fast, the frequency is very high and very fast, it's more powerful than if it's moving very, very slow. So let me give you an example. A rock has energy. A rock is energy. It's in motion, but the frequency is very slow. Water is a higher frequency than the rock. And if water runs over the rock long enough, the water is going to change the rock, but the rock will not change the water. The sun is a higher frequency than the water. And if the sun shines on the water long enough, the sun will evaporate the water, but the water doesn't affect the sun. So that's very important to understand that, because in quantum physics today, we have discovered that thought and light are the two highest frequencies, and that's important. We also know that energy is either a wave or it's a particle. The problem is we don't know what it is when it's not being observed. If you look in a microscope at the atomic and subatomic levels and you expect to see a wave, you'll see a wave. If I look in it and I expect to see a particle, I'll see a particle. Because energy changes according to who's watching it. Whatever you're thinking changes the energy. When you realize that your thoughts are energy. Your thoughts are energy. They're very high energy. And every thought you think is creating the experiences in your life. There's some thoughts I've had, I don't want those experiences, but it's important to understand that, because nothing can ever change in your life until you change your mind about it. You have to change your perspective about it. So one day I was meditating on the Gospel of St. John, the last Gospel. For those of you who were around before Vatican Council, it was called the last Gospel, and it was the same every Mass. You'll recognize it. It goes like this. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then John goes on to say that this Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and became the light of the world. Well, I had read that many times, and I'm sure you'd read it many times and heard it many, many times. But that morning when I was reading it, I heard it from the perspective of quantum physics. And I said, oh my gosh, John is calling Jesus the thought and the light. And thought and light are the highest energies on the face of the earth. So basically, what John was saying is that Jesus is the highest energy on the planet. We've also found out in quantum physics that if we just think about light, we change this auric field around us. Just thinking of it. So if you're happy and you're healthy and you're feeling good about yourself and feeling good about your day, then your field, your energy field around you is light and bright, and it has a very high frequency. But if you're angry or you're jealous or you feel resentment, then the field around you becomes very dense and dull. So I said, just thinking about light can change things. So I decided to do an experiment. I went into Stater Brothers, and there was a woman there, and she had a child in a basket, and this kid was throwing a temper tantrum. You know how embarrassed parents become if you're a parent, when you just can't keep the kid quiet and they're screaming and yelling and everybody in the store is watching you. So I decided I'm going to try, just pause for a moment, and I'm going to think in my mind that I'm filling this child full of light, and I'm going to fill this mother full of light. The minute I did it, this kid stopped, and he turned around as if he felt somebody touching him. The mother didn't. She was too frustrated to feel anything. But I thought, that's cool. So I was in Stater Brothers longer than I would normally stay, and I was zapping all the people around that I could see and see who was responding and see who wasn't responding. So I found out that if I set this light, and this is another picture for the HeartMath, just mentally in my mind, sending light from one person to another person, that if people are sensitive to it, they can actually feel that light. Especially children can feel that light. Now, I was raised in a very Catholic family, very, very Catholic family, and I was taught all the usual prayers, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Glory Be, the Memorare, we said the Rosary, we did all of that. And then I went and I got a degree in theology. And, never was I taught, while I was growing up, I went to Catholic schools, I was never taught to pray using the light of Christ. And then when I go into theology, that's not on the curriculum either. No one talks about praying with the light of Christ. So I wasn't sure it was really acceptable. Is this a good Catholic way to pray? Is this okay? No one's given me permission to do this. So I figured I had to do some research to get my own permission to figure out if this was okay for me to do it. Well, you know what I found out? In Scripture, light is mentioned 272 times. In our liturgies, we receive a candle, a light, when we're baptized. Holy Saturday, we have a whole ceremony around Lumen Christi, the Paschal candle. At funerals, they light the Paschal candle again to remind us of the light that we received at baptism. On Pentecost, we talk about the apostles. The Holy Spirit appeared to them in the form of tongues. That was light. We sing all kinds of songs about the light of Christ and Jesus. And so I thought, it can't be against the church. We're talking about it all the time. But up until that moment that I had that experience, looking at Scripture from the quantum view, looking at it from quantum physics, I always thought light was a very beautiful symbol that we used. But now I understood it was more than a symbol. It was a powerful presence. Very, very powerful. The HeartMath Institute in Boulder, California was founded about 30 years ago. And one of their goals was to study the frequency of energy and see how it affects people, plants, animals, and the planet itself. So they discovered that we have 2 brains. Now, they're talking about the electromagnetic energy that is extending from our body. And so as you can see on this picture, the large circle is the electromagnetic energy coming from your heart brain. And the small circle right here, the white circle, is the electromagnetic energy coming from your head brain. So our heart brains are 5,000 times more effective than our head brains. And I'd been using my head all my life and not even thinking about my heart. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm using my inferior brain. If I would use my heart brain, things would go better. They also found out at the HeartMath Institute that if you would use your head brain and your heart brain at the same time, they called it coherence. And that using both brains at the same time, you had elevated energy. You just had a lot of energy and you just felt really alive and vibrant. And you've all had that experience. Like, have you been doing something that you really love to do? And then all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, what happened to the time? I'm an hour late. I should have been someplace else. The reason you ran over time and the reason you didn't realize how fast the time went is because your head and your heart were working together. It's called coherence. And coherence gives you more energy. It also makes you healthier and it makes you happier. So, but when your head is going one way and your heart is going the other way, you have incoherence. And that depletes your energy. So let me give you an example. What if one of you came up to me and said, Joni, could you help me do this? And I'd say, oh, sure, I'd love to. Anything I can do for you, I would love to do it. And then while I'm telling you this and I'm smiling and telling you I would just love to help you, I'm thinking, doesn't she know how busy I am? Why doesn't she ask somebody else? You know, I have so much to do, I'll never get it done. And so in my head, I'm thinking one thing, but I'm saying something else. That's incoherence. That's when the head and the heart are not working together. Jesus kind of talked about that. He said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And so we need to speak honestly when we're talking about things. So when the Institute began to teach people how to connect their heart lights, they discovered that just in communicating with another person, if you connect your heart light, you'll find that your relationship is much better. Because our hearts have never forgotten that we're connected. And so when you connect your heart light with another person's heart light, you'll never harm them. You'll never do anything wrong to hurt them. So just remember that. You can, in your mind, just imagine connecting your heart light with anybody. But you can connect your heart light to more than one person at a time. Now, this is what is so cool, because when I go to church on Sunday, I think everybody's there because they want to have a better week, right? So they don't know about the light of Christ, so I sit there during Mass and I'm connecting all their heart lights. I'm connecting them all with the Eucharist, I'm connecting them all with each other, and I know they're going to go home and things are going to be better because I've connected all their heart lights. They're not going to be complaining in the parking lot and hitting each other. So we can connect heart lights to a lot of people at the same time. Dr. Joe Dispenza has been going around the world, and he has been giving workshops teaching people how to change their life by changing their mind. He's very much aware of the power of our thoughts, and we can think a thought and literally bring about a change in our human body if we can hold the thought long enough. We have to hold the thought to keep that focus long enough in order for the wave to change to a particle or the particle to change to a wave. But one of the interesting things that he did, he came up with something that called Project Coherence. And he did this experiment 50 times. And he brought thousands of people together. And he had them to focus on a very specific place at the same time. And as they focused on this place, they just sent light from their heart, and they imagined peace and well-being with all the people in the area. Every single time he did the experiment, there was less violence in the area, there was less crime, there were fewer traffic accidents, and in many cases, there was an increase in economic growth. So maybe we have to rethink the words of Jesus. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there. I, for years, have had a prayer group that meets on Monday night. And people would come in and they would want us to pray for their friends or loved ones or someone that was sick. So we would pray for them every Monday night. So I decided that I was going to try to teach them how to send the light of Christ. Instead of praying for someone's heart and someone's kidney and someone's liver, we were going to just ignore what was wrong with the person and just fill this person mentally with this light of Christ. You know, when we started doing that, the results were overwhelming. People called us, things changed in their life, relationships changed, people got better. It was really, really good. But one of the fascinating things that happened with that is the people who were praying felt better. And I said, that's interesting. So then I discover in quantum physics that energy has a magnetic quality. What you send out comes back to you. So all this light they were sending to people was returning to them. And they were feeling better. They were experiencing personal healings or better relationships or things of this sort. You know that? Jesus talked about that too. 2,000 years ago, he told us we were connected, and he said, do not judge, you will not be judged. Don't criticize, you won't be criticized. Given, it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down. Will they give you, because the measure you measure will be measured back to you. And that's exactly what quantum physics is teaching today. What you give will be given back to you. So, Jesus also reminded us in Matthew, Mark, and Luke that we should not put our light under a bushel basket. We should put it on a lampstand so everyone could see it. That we are supposed to let our light shine before others. There's a lot of darkness in the world today. People are angry, they're resentful, they're taking sides, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't matter. You're not going to change anybody. You're not going to have a good argument. You're not going to have the right words to change anybody. But you don't have to be helpless. We can change what's going on in the world if whenever we see this violence, whenever we see this darkness, whenever we see what's happening, then basically we can send the light of Christ. And the light of Christ will take over. So learning how to pray using the light of Christ is not complicated. You don't have to attend a workshop. You don't have to have any special techniques. All you need to do is make the intention to send love and to send light. You send love, you send light, that's all there is to it. Jesus does the rest. So remember, each time you choose to send light, each time you choose to pray in this manner, you will also benefit from it. So I'd say, why not give it a try, Trust me, your life will get better. So you can go on to the HeartMath Institute online, and You can see more pictures. You can understand more about the frequencies, more about the light that's going on. I think Teilhard de Chardin said that when science, psychology, and religion come together, we will have a better idea of who Jesus was in our life. Thank you.
Sister Johnny, don't go away. Don't go away. Please, please, please. We want you here.
I'm here.
Yeah. We won't let you walk out of the podium without our permission.
All right.
But I'm going to sing for you.
Oh, thank you.
You probably know this song. This little guiding light of mine, I'm going to let it shine all the time. Let it shine.
I love that, but I can't sing, but that's great. Thank you, Sony.
Neither did I. I did not know how to sing, but I just tried. I'm
You
sure.
did good.
I'm sure Sister Jean is going to probably get so upset with me. I probably went totally out of pitch and everything for that matter. But I did sing that song because it's all about light.
It's all about light.
Thank you so much. It was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
I never knew quantum physics can be connected to, the scriptures.
Yeah.
And that the heart and the head has similar kind of lights.
It does, but the heart has more light.
Yeah. So now that's what I would like to find more information from you. We speak about the heart of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
The loving heart of Jesus, the sacred heart of Jesus. Now tell us, our audience, why do we give a lot of importance to heart? When you said the heart and the head, when the lights of the heart and the head, when it is put together, there is more of coherence.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, why do we give more stress to the heart of Jesus? We give heart more importance to heart, also saying that, the heart is the seat of love, right? So could you comment on that?
Yes. Well, we have been trained to be very analytical as people. So, most of us in our educational system, we've been taught how to use our heads. We've been taught how to analyze, and so the more we use our head, the more we incorporate the left hemisphere of our brain, the more critical, the more judgmental we become. But Jesus never looked at life that way. Jesus looked at everyone from his heart energy. And when he saw people from their heart energy, he saw their perfection. He saw their goodness. And what they're saying, I didn't say this in the talk, but what they're saying in quantum physics is, and Joe Dispenza has discovered this in his workshops that he's doing, if you can hold a thought for 1 minute and 8 seconds without wavering, and we change our mind every 4 to 6 seconds, so that's not easy to do. But if you can hold that thought for 1 minute and 8 seconds, you can change a wave to a particle or a particle to a wave. And so what the quantum physicists are saying today is they believe that Jesus looked at another person for 1 minute and 8 seconds and saw them in their perfection. He saw their goodness. He didn't focus on what was wrong with them. He focused on their goodness, that they were one with him as he was one with the Father. And if that person could accept it, they had a miracle. He never said, when he cured anybody, that you are cured because of I'm the Son of God or because it's my great technique. He always said it was your faith that healed you. And your faith was your belief in that the power of God's light is in us and we can use it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Johnny. I do definitely agree with you, as well as I know the scripture very openly speaks about that. Because even the reading that we had last Sunday, the liturgy, there also we have the usage of this Jesus looking at, especially whenever he healed somebody, as you mentioned, he looked and loved them. That's very often the usage that most of the evangelists would use, and loved them.
What would happen if we did that to each other?
I know.
If we looked at everyone with love. and held that thought for 8 minutes, they probably would be so uncomfortable they would walk out of the room, but it's worth a try.
Well, you said when you go to the church for the Sunday Mass, you look at every person and you're loving them and you're sending that the
Right.
heart light to them so that when they go out, there's more joy in them that they won't hit each other in the parking lot.
Right. That's right.
I liked it.
I hope they like it too. I haven't seen any accidents in the parking lot.
Well, just in case, we have a studio audience here for those of you who are watching outside and those of you who would be also probably catching up with this show later on, because normally we have a lot of people who would catch up with the show later. But to the studio audience, do you want to are there any of you who want to make a comment or a statement or a question? Okay, I'm coming to you with the microphone.
Sister Joni, both my husband and I have been recipients of your healing light. However, I've not been able to attend your Monday night prayer meetings. If I want to or need to send light to somebody, is there a special prayer, or do I meditate, or what do I do? How do I go about doing that?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. First of all you have to do is, number one, have the intention. Have the intention that you want to send love, you want to help this person, you want to send light. That's crucial. Number two, you do not want to focus on their illness. You don't want to focus on what's wrong, because remember, thought creates. So if I'm going to pray for somebody who is, let's say they've had a stroke or they have a heart problem, I'm not going to, in my mind, see them as paralyzed and see them in bed. I'm going to see them up, walking around, trimming trees, doing all kinds of things like this, because my thoughts are going to, it's called cognitive dissonance. I send the light, I send out the thought, the universe or God comes up and matches the thought. So the thing is, number one, you make the intention to send love. Number two, you send light, and you hold a picture of them in your mind, of them being happy, healthy, and doing what they want to do. Now, I've often worked with family groups, and they've prayed for somebody. I remember I went over to Loma Linda, and the whole family was there because somebody had a stroke in their brain stem. And I got the family together, and I said, tell me what he likes to do. And they said he likes to go fishing. I said, okay, we're in a group. Everybody think of him fishing. And one of the kids said, and he's got that awful plaid shirt on. I said, okay, he's got that awful plaid shirt on. But the whole family got the same picture. That's kind of what Joe Dispenza did with this project Coherence. The whole family got the picture of him fishing and doing what he wanted to do. When I went over to Loma Linda, they said he had had a very serious stroke in his brain stem, and that his chances of making it were like nothing. Well, he's still alive today, and he's fine. So you know the power when we come together and get a collective thought, a collective picture. So oftentimes when the group met on Monday night and somebody would tell us, we would say, tell us what the person likes to do. So all of us in the group can have a collective picture of him being healthy or her being healthy. Okay?
Thank you. Thanks, Joni. And thanks for the wonderful question as well. Let me also ask if anyone else would like to ask another question. Yeah, let me come to you with the microphone.
Hi, Sister Joni.
Hi, Gail.
Just a question. What if you're sending someone your heart light and your love, but they're not a believer of such action?
You know what? It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. What happens, Gail, is that when I send my heart light and my love to you, it's going to connect to their heart light. They may not know anything about it, but the chances of them getting angry with you or the chances of them doing something hurtful to you just goes down, because our hearts have never forgotten that we're connected. And so when we connect heart lights, in fact, I had one of the people that came on retreat, she got a traffic ticket and she went into court and she was so frightened. And she said, I sat there and I kept sending my heart light to the judge, you know. And she says, finally, when I got to the judge and he said, well, I see, she says, I couldn't deny that I had the traffic ticket. It was on camera. You could see me in the car. And he said, well, young lady, did you learn your lesson? She said, oh, yes. He said, that's fine, and tore up the ticket. So it's very helpful.
Hey, I want to practice that. Definitely. Especially, if the judge is going to give that kind of a very positive and acceptable
There you
kind of
go.
verdict.
Absolutely.
Johnny, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Before I ask the audience for another question, something that came to my mind.
What?
We normally just in normal conversation, in normal living, we speak about positive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So also we speak about positive vibe.
Mm-hmm.
How important is this positive vibe, especially when we are in a group, when we are also even away from each other? We also call this,
Very
I think,
important.
telepathy also, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Would you want to comment on it?
Sure, always. I meant to tell you that, the pictures I showed you with the light going around, the light around the people, that basically, they have a camera. It's called Curlian photography. And you can take the camera and you can see, this is a picture of him bringing the light of Christ into the top of his head, going down to his heart and extending out. So the Curlian photography will take a picture of your energy because it has color, it has sound, and it has a different frequency. And the colors change. Actually, the colors are the colors of the rainbow. That's why we see a rainbow, because we see the different frequencies. But whenever we are with somebody and we don't have a camera, we're still sensing what that field is. Because you don't need a camera. If you're sitting in a room and you're all just talking and somebody walks in, you don't need a camera to figure out if they're angry or if they're happy. You can feel it the minute they walk in the room. So we are broadcasting our thoughts. We're broadcasting our feelings to everybody that we're around all the time. I've gone in groups where everybody's sitting around and they're just like, you think they just buried someone. And so, you just have to go in and just light up all their hearts and connect them all together so that there's some life back into the room again. We can do that. One person can destroy the energy in a room and one person can lift it up in the room.
Yeah.
That's how powerful
Thank
we
you.
are.
Thank you. Oh, no, I do agree with that. Thank you so much. Thanks for that beautiful, beautiful explanation. Are there any one of you who would like to add another? Yeah, please, I'm coming to you.
Father, this kind of follows from what you were asking. Sister, is there a difference, or what are the similarities between setting a positive intention and sending heart light?
Well, you can send a positive intention, but you're just using your head. Remember, the heart has a 5,000 times greater electromagnetic field. So why not just give it all to do that? Because, if you connect the head and the heart, then you have a lot of power. But if you're going to use just the head, then we're back to just the left hemisphere of the brain, and we're back to just thoughts, and we're putting half of our power out there. It's not our power, it's the power of Christ coming through us, and the power of Christ will not come through us unless we give it permission and ask, because we have freedom. We have free will. So I would say always connect both.
Yeah. Sister Jean has a question, so let me go bring it to her.
Joni, how can we apply that very thing that you were just talking about to the intercessions at Eucharist, which are usually just sitting there sort of dead?
Well, I always, every time the priest says anything, or the Eucharistic, they say the prayers of the faithful, I'm always connecting it. But just being aware of it, you do it yourself. All you need is one person to do it. You just need one person. So when you pray for, let's say you pray for government officials and the prayers of the faithful, in your mind, just take your heart light and flood the government officials. You just connect the heart light to every one of the prayers. The people aren't going to understand it. There aren't enough people that know about quantum physics. Some of them are fearful about quantum physics. But that shouldn't keep us from spreading the light of Christ. You know, we understand it, and we can spread the light of Christ, and we can change things. None of us are helpless. I think the reason we get old is because we stop running around and now start sitting down and use our time better. We use our time to send light instead of doing all sorts of things.
I don't know, Joni, if but don't go away. You be there. I don't know. My next question is going to open a big array of questions, but I'm going to ask something with regard to the dead. We pray for the dead.
Yes.
I know we always also say that the dead do not need our prayers because we believe as Christians, as Catholics, we believe in the eternal life after. So we speak about that as well. But at the same time, we think, we pray, and we sometimes try to connect with our loved ones who have gone away.
Yes.
Now, how do you connect? What kind of, I don't know if I can say explanation, or what kind of quantum physics theory you can bring into that kind of a situation? Because I think what Sister Jean just now asked also is similar. Because I'm praying, let's say, giving you an example, I'm praying for taking a very recent situation, that what's happening in Afghanistan, the people who are suffering there. I'm praying for them. I'm sitting here in California and in one of our churches or in the studio, and I pray. I tell the Lord, please let them receive the assistance and the needed help.
Okay.
How do we connect with them? Or
Okay.
how do we... Now, I moved away a little from my basic question.
That's fine. I love
There's
it.
two things now here.
I love it.
There's two things. How do we connect with
The dead, and how do we help people
Yes,
far
yes.
away? Okay, let's take the dead question first. First of all, we're all made of energy. And when we die, 99.9% of who we are does not change. Less than 1% is our body, is our envelope, is our body. We are eternal. Energy can never be destroyed. We are eternal. We are connected with the Father. So when we die, you know, we still have our personality, we still have our values, we still have who we are. So when we look at our human life and we look at ourselves from childhood on, how did we become an adult? How did we learn how to walk? How did we learn how to talk? How did we learn how to eat? We learned because the adults around us communicated with us. They showed us how to walk. They showed us how to talk. They communicated. So all growth in our life is a result of communication. We learn things in school. We learn things from books. It's communication. If that's how we learned here on earth, we must continue to communicate with the dead. To pray is to communicate.
Yeah.
I tell people who have lost a loved one, talk to them every day. They're still here. 99% of who they are is still here. Talk to them. Tell them what's going on. Ask them for their assistance. They love you more than other people do. They'll help out. And frankly, for myself, I probably talk to more dead people than alive because I'm calling on their help all the time. So we should never stop talking to our loved ones who have died. That is very, very important because they continue to grow. We don't just become static when we die because we're here forever, for all eternity. We're energy. We keep changing. We keep moving. That's energy. It's always in motion. It's moving. So talk to your loved ones who have died. Another word for talk is prayer. That's what prayer is. It's talking to them. You can say formal prayers, but you know what? I just talk to them like I did in life. Hey, come on, I need some help, do this, whatever it is. So communicate with them in your own words. That's number one. When we're talking about the people in Afghanistan, I want to go back to one Monday night and how we prayed for people who were sick. So our first thought is all these people that are suffering in Afghanistan. So if I'm going to focus on them suffering, I'm going to hold them in suffering, So when we pray for them in Afghanistan, I send the light of Christ to them. I see it like a soothing balm going over all these mobs of people, and I'm sending the light of Christ and asking that, the light of Christ go to anybody who's receptive to receiving it. Give them what they need and help them. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful answer. I think she needs an applause for that.
So do my dead family.
Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to share something that came to my mind. It's a confession secret, by the way. Somebody told me, not about. I'm just going to. I'm going to try to keep it as secret as possible. I went for confession to a priest, and he asked me after the confession, before giving me the penance. He asked me, "Do you have your parents?" I said, "Unfortunately not." I said, "My father passed away 8 years ago, and my mom passed away last year." Then he said, "Okay, you say one Our Father with your mother as my penance." I'm also a priest, and I have never thought of that in my life, in my whole 27 years of priesthood. I never thought about that, but I really appreciated him for asking me. And I shared this with you because exactly this is, I think, also what you shared as well. We are always with them.
We're always with them.
Yeah, thank
always.
you. Thank you. Are there any questions in the audience? Okay, I'm coming there.
Sister Joan, the world seems to be full of negative energy all the time, especially these days. People don't seem to talk to each other or understand each other. What would you suggest to us how to go through it
Okay.
and still keep your internal calmness?
All right. First of all, energy is not going to go away. You don't get rid of energy. You don't get rid of negative energy. You transmute it. You change it. So I was a first grade teacher, and the way I would probably explain this is, think about your energy field, and when you're angry, your energy is all tangled and knotted up. And that's an uncomfortable situation. It makes you feel lousy all over. But when you send the light of Christ, you allow it to go through your body, the light seems to smooth it out and take out all those wrinkles or whatever. But it's very, very important. Gisa, I'm glad you asked that question, because I started out by saying the planet is vibrating at different rates every day. You can check it on your phone. It's called the Schumann resonance. And one day, the planet may be vibrating at 14 cycles per second, and the next day it could be 54 cycles per second. So we have within us this fluctuation of the energy going on all the time. So we have an intention of having a good day, but everything is going wrong, and we drop everything, and all this stuff is happening. What happens is that if you don't change your energy to match the energy of the planet, you're in a tug of war. The planet is vibrating at one level and you're vibrating at another level. So I find that whenever I'm out of sorts, whenever things aren't working, I do this very simple technique. I go outside and take off my shoes and sit down and put my feet on the grass, allow the light to come through my head, go down my spine, down my legs into the ground, and just take about 5 or 6 deep breaths, and I'm lined up, and now the planet and I are working together. Because if you're going to be working in opposition to the planet, it's a tug of war, and trust me, the planet will win. You will not win that tug of war. So we can't change other people's vibration. I can't align you. You have to do that yourself. But I can send you light, which will dissipate this tangledness in your field, and it might give you the courage to go align yourself. Okay?
Thank you. Somebody told me go into the nature and have some vitamin N. vitamin N, N for nature.
Yeah, that's good.
So let's keep doing vitamin N. And then the person said, of course, then you will also get vitamin D as well.
Yeah, and that works too.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up. Unless you have any questions right here in the audience, we will take one more, if you have one. Okay, I'm going to bring the microphone
Okay.
to Kay. This would be the last question.
Okay.
Sister Joni.
No, wait, Kay, let me bring the microphone.
Thank you. Sister Joni, how do you know that you're sending the light of Christ? It's not just, as this lady was saying, it's just a thought, a positive thought. How do you know that you're actually sending the light of Christ? How do you, is there a feeling, or is there words, or is there something
Some people have feelings.
specific?
I don't. It's an intention. Energy follows thought. And when you make the intention, the energy will follow the intention. So it's a matter of intending. A lot of people can feel the energy. They can feel this warm feeling whenever they move the light of Christ through their body. I have never felt that. Some people see it. I have never seen it. I just believe it's there because Jesus said, I'm the light, and I'm the word, and I'm the thought, and I trust him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Johnny. I think this was a very lively discussion and a presentation. Yes.
Thank you.
We have understood a little more about the light of Christ through quantum physics.
Yes. Yes.
So also connecting with one another. I think we can try to connect our heart light and head light and have that coherence
Yes.
and send it to others so that there will be more peace, there will be more understanding.
And more peace in
More
your
peace
own life.
in our own lives as
Yes.
well.
Mhm.
And I think I'm going to sing that song once more. I like that song. No, I'm not going to sing it.
You know that song, don't you? This little light of mine.
This little light,
Light of mine.
let it shine, let
This
it
little light of
shine.
mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
And let's keep it shining all the time. Thank you so much. And thanks all of you out there who have been watching the program. Please connect with us again. I'm using the word that we use right now. Connect with us again. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that whenever we have a program of this kind, you will get the notification and you can join us. So also spread the word so that all the messages and all the programs of WordNet can be brought to many more people. Thank you so much for all your support out there, and also to all of you here in the studio. Let's definitely connect with each other and pray for one another. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
Thank you.